Nobody is above the law. Nobody's above the law.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. I love you guys. God bless America. Let's get into this. Don Lemon Juice got arrested this morning. And when I heard of his arrest, I got excited a little bit. I'm just playing. Y'all gonna think I'm gay like Don Lemon. No, I did get happy. Like, I woke up to that news and I said, this is gonna be a good day. Not because I want him to be arrested because he's a leftist nut job. It's because I believe that justice should be served if you're doing stupid stuff like Don Lemon is doing. You cannot go and coordinate an activist effort and then claim to be a journalist. It doesn't work that way. Don Lemon had prior knowledge to what these people were going to do in that church. He not only had prior knowledge, when they went and executed what they did, he was front and center badgering and chastising the preacher when he should have been outside waiting for the parishioners to come out and then interviewing them. You cannot stay and remain on private property after a reasonable request for you to leave and think you're not going to go to jail. Let's roll the news clip. Roll it.
Journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
He's not a journalist.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll, of course, update our viewers, guys.
You can go to the store at The Officer Tatum or tatumstore.com, and you will find the shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is Deport Liberal White Women. I got to give credit to my wife because she's the one that came up with that idea. We got a little bit of the ice baby, my son thought this was the coolest thing ever. And I said, how do you know what ices are? You're just a baby. All right, we got other merch. You live, you leer. A whole bunch of stuff on here. Ice 26 in the discount section. Put in Ice 26, get 26% off the store. All right, y'all, let's get back to the subject at hand. This is a statement from Abe Lowell, I think it is.
Yes.
Attorney for Don Lemon. Roll it.
Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine a light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to the arrest, to this arrest, and that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing the administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court.
Bro, Don Lemon wrote that. Ain't no attorney with a license would say something stupid like that. If you're fired, well, I hope he keep that attorney. But if you out there have an attorney, and your attorney on a documented on a documented statement says that 2 Minnesota peacefully protesting were killed, peacefully protesting and get killed, your attorney, who should understand law, says that in a document, is crazy. It's crazy. You can articulate that you'll be wrong, but you can articulate that they shouldn't have been shot if that's your position. But you can't say they were peacefully protesting. How you protesting your car? How do you protest in a car when you end up hitting a Border Patrol or ICE agent? How is that? And then we got video of her blocking traffic. What y'all talking about? And then another guy, after his 3rd arrest, with being physically violent with Border Patrol agents, he ended up fighting them, committing a felony crime with a gun. And your attorney, Don Lemon's attorney, says, peaceful protesters. She also told him he wasn't going to get arrested. He probably needs to switch it up. All right, looks like we have a new clip of Don's husband waiting outside of the courtroom, looking like a stooge. Dude, nothing against gay people. But why you got to be weird, though? Why can't the gay dude be like a normal dude? That's what always gets to me. Like, what is being gay? Why do you gotta be different? Like your mannerisms even weird. He's staying like he gay. If I was looking at this guy, I'd be like, man, that dude gay. Why are you staying gay? I don't get it. Like, maybe I'm tripping. How you born? Are you born like this? Okay, roll the clip.
Husband, my baby.
I couldn't look my family in the face, and I'm out here like this dude, waiting on another man to come out the door to hug me. I can't. Come on, somebody play the clip. Is that it? Oh, that is him just sitting out there looking stupid. I don't know. It just, him and Don Lemon specifically just bothers me. All right, we got another clip because, of course, Brian Stelter, which I didn't think he existed anymore. I guess his bald head is still on TV. Come on, roll that clip.
Has said all along that he was there not as an activist, but as a journalist. In fact, he was saying those words and repeating that out loud when he was inside the church.
It don't matter.
But he clearly knew something was taking place that day with the protesters. He told his viewers on YouTube to stay tuned because there was something about to happen. He was careful not to have his camera crew walk into the church until there was a disruption. And I would urge people to go online, actually watch the YouTube video, see how it all went down. I think Lemon's reporting from inside the church was very valuable. As a viewer, I learned a lot about how it happened, how it all went down. He interviewed some of the protesters in real time, yes. He also interviewed some of the worshipers, and I thought their comments were really insightful about what they went through, about how troubled, how scared they were by the disruption. At the same time, like I said, you learned a lot from the protesters about why they decided to show up there, believing that one of the pastors at the church also worked for ICE. So this video on YouTube, this is the real focal point. This video, it of course happened on a Sunday morning. This video was then streaming for everyone to see. And by Monday, the day after that incident, there was a lot of online outrage on the right. Many calls from MAGA loyalists to have Lemon arrested. I think an important part of the story here is the amount of pressure the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, and others have been under from the right to arrest Lemon, to take action like this. And as you said, the initial attempt to do so failed in Minnesota. Now we're seeing another attempt to do so.
It's not that there was pressure on the right. Don Lemon created pressure on himself because he went out there and recorded a crime. He recorded premeditation of working with their staff or whatever these activists were to go into a church and commit a crime. He knew they were going to do it, and he participated in it. He was standing around talking to people. He participated in the entire event. Let me tell y'all something. This is journalism. If somebody goes into a church and commits a crime, as a journalist, you stand outside of the church. And if you can get a view into the church, you can peer into the church. When parishioners come out, you can interview them. You cannot go and insert yourself in a criminal act and then act like a journalist. I just don't understand what, that's like saying this. Let me give you an example. It's like saying if Allah Akbar is standing outside of a building and say, I'm finna go in there and throw acid on people because they Christians. And the reporter is standing out there with him and going, I know something's gonna happen, and you just stay tuned. He already told you he's gonna commit a crime, and you know he's gonna commit a crime, and you're participating in covering his crimes. And then the guy goes into there and he throws acid on people, and you go up to the person with the acid on their face and go, how does it feel? No, but you are a Christian, and Christians don't like Muslims, right? And the person has been violated and a crime has been committed against them, and you're interrogating them. How does that make you a journalist? And then, let me say this, the guy with the acid on his face at a private bar is like, please leave the bar. And the journalists say you, and he stays and he interviews more people who have been victimized. That's not journalism, bro. You are participating in it. All right, Harmeet Dillon has got something to say, and she's also an attorney, wrote a clip.
When I first saw the video that Don Lemon himself put out about his conduct that day, it was clear to me that we had the predicates for pursuing FACE Act and conspiracy. We did our homework, sent prosecutors there to the ground, took affidavits, took evidence. They buttressed the case that we could witness from Lemon's own testimony and statements and admissions against interest in his own videos. And we have aggressively and very rapidly sought legal process. We're going to pursue this to the ends of the earth.
I think that's the right approach. Let's get to the next one. Pam Bondi has something to say.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Thank you, Pam Bondi. Now let's go to another guy who claims to be a lawyer. And this is what he had to say from TMZ. Roll it.
So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane.
Time out. I'm going to let him finish. But like, he was a part of it. The whole scheme of everything they did were to expose the pastor. he was a part of the exposing of the pastor, and he put it online. It's like they did the crime and he covered it for them. He gave them publicity. He gave them coverage. That's like if I was going to go down to somebody's house and I say, man, I'm going to kick this dude door in and I'm going to beat everybody up in the house. And I got a guy behind me that's a cameraman that's like, all right, bro, I'll put it on YouTube. Okay? I go and beat people up, and he go in there and cover it on YouTube and put it out. Bro, we both going to jail. You guys have literally sold past half of our inventory in pre-order in 1 week. 1 week, Verdict has sold past half of all of our inventory. Like, we got to restock. You guys are getting ready to sell us out. And if you want to get Verdict shipped to you during the pre-order period, which I think is going to be at the end of this week, it's going to start shipping out. If you want the Verdict, you better get on there and get some today because we're going to sell out.
So make sure if you're interested, go on. You must be 21 and over, obviously, but you make sure you drink responsibly. We don't do the irresponsible drinking. We don't do the drinking to get drunk and intoxicated. Pre-order today.
Let him finish it. Go.
Ridiculous, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important. The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots.
No, bro. He is a part of the protest. He is giving them exposure on his channel into the world. That's like me. I'm Brandon Tatum. I got all my followers. I got a big platform. If somebody was like, I'm going to go to a city council meeting and expose these people, I got a platform. So I go and give them a platform by covering them exposing somebody. That's me participating, bruh. And then let's be clear about private property and religious freedom. You cannot go on somebody's private property to interview them without consent. I don't understand what we're talking about. If the police, show me anybody in journalism that after the police force entry into your house and arrest people, that the media gets to come into your house while you're on the couch in handcuffs like this, and they get to put a microphone in front of your face and talk to you about it. Show me where that happened at. Show me. I don't know of any situation where a reporter is allowed to go in during the commission of a crime to interview the victim. Quit acting like that's real. He got caught, bro. That's just what it is. Now, let's bring some more. Let's give you another example. On January 6th, remember on January 6th, when people were just going in to cover the insurrection, people were just on their cameras going in to be journalists observing the insurrection at the Capitol. They all went to jail. They did not consider that journalism, did they? So January 6th, no matter what your coverage is, you're not a journalist, you go to jail. This fool went into a church and he's now a journalist. All right. All right. Let me let him finish. Roll the clip.
I was a local reporter in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I covered riots and floods and earthquakes and all sorts of things where I had to step into areas where there were police, where there was activity, private property, when you're covering an event like this, like a protest, which I've covered many, you step into it. And that's what journalists do. And that's what Don Lemon did. The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is insane.
Time out.
Insane.
Time out. This is a grown man saying this. Private property means that it's privately owned by someone and they have the right to invite you in or not. Like if you go to a stadium, I don't know, the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, it's a private property. They invite you in. And if you cut up, they get the security and they kick you out. When Donald Trump would go on his campaign trail, he would rent out private venues. And so he would do his rally in private venues, and when you cut up, they, by law, can make you leave. A church is a private venue. They reserve the right to kick you out if you are disorderly. They pay the rent there, or they own the property. They voluntarily allow you to come on to the property. My house is private property. If my neighbor is down the street, I let them come into my house. And if I say, Joe, get out, Joe better leave. There's something else that'll happen to Joe, but since I'm on a live stream, if Joe don't leave, I'm gonna call the police to pick him up. But no, I'm gonna call him first. Why is this guy lying about private property? Roll it. And I got a little, I see the chat. I got you in the chat. I'm going to plug you right after this. Roll it.
That they're making this stupid argument transparent. And yet, a grand jury indicted Don Lemon after a magistrate said there's insufficient evidence. Well, a grand jury will indict anybody because Don Lemon doesn't appear before the grand jury. Abby Lowell, his lawyer, doesn't appear before the grand jury. The Justice Department says what the Justice Department wants the grand jury to believe, and almost every time they believe it. It's all the way it's skewed. This is a ridiculous assault. And I don't want to say just on the First Amendment. It's a ridiculous assault on democracy.
What about
Trump
the
administration should be ashamed of itself, but they're not.
What
and
about the
they
church?
will continue to do this. And they are going after journalists. They're getting search warrants for their home.
Yeah. Now, have y'all noticed that he said he's supposed to be a lawyer with your constitutional rights and everything? He didn't mention one time the violation against the people who were there to worship. They have the right to assemble as well. What are you saying? Your First Amendment rights cannot thwart another person's rights. Why didn't he mention the church's rights at all? If this was a mosque, I put my life on it. He wouldn't say anything. When Donald Trump got indicted, I can almost put my life on it that he didn't mention nothing about a grand jury would indict anybody. Why do they do this, man?